BeeArc, which is a really, really exciting project that is a culmination of James's life work. So over the last 33 years, James has been studying and researching propolis. He really is an expert in propolis. And through his work, he's developed 3 aspects that are reflecting his knowledge and wisdom. So he has Nature's Laboratory, which has pioneered research and development of a new range of remarkable medicines inspired by the beehive, which he calls apicuticals. And then through Common Cause and the dispensary, he's developed the concept of 3-dimensional health, which is within the community. So it's health that depends on social and spiritual factors as well as the purely physical factors. And then he has Three's Company, which is a concept of 3-dimensional health for organisations. So it's looking at the business and not-for-profits and statutory bodies. So a social and spiritual health as well as good economic health. So he's bringing it all together, the 3-dimensional with the personal health, 3-dimensional organisational health, and 3-dimensional community health. So the honeybees are having a really hard time with colony collapse disorder, and the honeybees have become 1-dimensional. We're looking at honeybees for what we can get from them, rather than their 3-dimensional reality, which is the cultural, the spiritual side of bees, the social aspects and community that we can learn from the way the hive works. And then economically and environmentally, what we gain from the pollination, what we understand about the economics of the beehive and the generosity that the bees share with us with their honey. So we need to be rediscovering the true meaning of the honeybee. So right in the beginning we had the Egyptians, we had the Greeks, we have all the indigenous people around the world who've worked with bees that we've been so honoured to learn about during the conference so far. And in India, the gods were all related to bees. We have so many connections with bees. Bees really are that spiritual connection between the heavens and humanity throughout time. And then we need to really look more compassionately at the bees. And there's this lovely quote from this book, The Global Hive. Nature becomes a commodity. We can see that nature, and particularly through bees, it has become a commodity. The beehive becomes a factory and the bee queen a genetic machine. And then the difference between thoughts and feelings is that our thoughts keep us detached while our feelings make us related. And as we've gone through the conference, many of us have been moved by the feelings that different speakers have evoked in us. And all of us who work with bees, we know of the feelings that we get when we're working with the bees. This is 3-dimensional ecology. The bee crisis shows how detachment from our bees and from nature, how that can become destructive, and that a new approach is needed, one that's related as well as objective. So with the loss of the pollinators, it really is an issue that has to be addressed, but not just in a scientific matter. We also acknowledge the way that we perceive, feel, and act in response to these issues. So this is a 3-dimensional ecology. Rudolf Steiner has some amazing insights on his work and research with the bees, and he says the entire cosmos can find its way into human beings and help to make them sound in mind and body. So human beings are also having a hard time. There's community collapse disorder. One of the benefits of the last few years is that we saw some communities really thriving and pulling together when we are in a meltdown. So we know as humanity, we know that things have to change. We know that we need to work together to really give us all a much better survival rate. So human beings, we are also 3-dimensional. We're not a commodity. We're not just something that has to give, or take. We have a nervous system, we have a respiratory system, we also have the metabolic system. And we also have 3 life realms, We have the cultural life, we have the social life, and we have the economic life. And we need to keep them all in balance. And when bees are healthy, they have their three aspects in balance. When humanity is healthy, we have our aspects in balance. So the BeeArc is a three-dimensional response. The social aspect is the discovery centre. The cultural aspect is the research centre, where we can carry on learning about bees and studying bees. And the economic aspect is the sustainable community. It's living as human beings, but inspired by the bees. So the BeeArc is a model through which both the honeybee and the human being can rebuild, repair, and regenerate their wholeness. They're three-dimensional beings. I think we should have an extra E in the beings. So the BeeArc will be a place where we can explore and put into practice much more appropriate and sustainable ways of living, working, and even celebrating the gift of life. So the social side is listening and looking. It's where people can come and learn and find out about the bees. They can learn about the economics of a beehive, the social aspects, and the spiritual sides, and all that spiritual influence that bees have had on us through the ages. The cultural side will be learning and understanding. So this is where more research will continue. And then we can learn through our research the benefits that the bees, there's all these gifts we're yet to discover that the bees have with us, that we can then translate into human life. And then the economic. We do need the economics of life. We can't just live on spirit alone or social well-being. We need to have the living and the working. We need to have that exchange. And so by putting into practice what we're learning from the bees, we can then have that economic success. So this can be a place where people can live and work in harmony, inspired by the way that the bees live and work in harmony when everything is in balance. So this is a plan. We've already had the plans gone through with architects. This is a project that is being developed, it is growing, it is starting to be built in the north of England. So it's really exciting, we have the land, and it's just a reality that is a culmination of James's 77 years of life and so much experience, much of which has been inspired by the bees. So to build all this knowledge and create it into a real form. So we actually have global ambassadors from all around the world who have been working with James and who are also inspired by the BeeArc. Our dream is that we will have BeeArcs all around the world. We need these giant hives of healthy humanity to inspire and move forward, to create a world that is more in balance. So I'm sure you will have seen many of them, and we have Dr. Stefan there as well. So we're building a global community. Now a healthy hive will have up to 70,000 honeybees, all working together, building their community. What we need is to build our own community like the bees. It's not just about one investor, one big lump sum. It's about us all working together. It's about us working as a true democracy, just like the hives. So we're looking for 70,000 BeeArc friends, because together we're all just doing a little bit, and the little bits all grow to make one great whole. So will you help build our global community? So if you want more information, take a screenshot, do the QR code. That's me, I am wearing a hat some of the time. And we will send you all the information and the progress about how we're doing with the BeeArc. And if you are somebody who thinks that you could help build a BeeArc in your community, in your area, then we can have a network of BeeArcs around the world. So thank you very much. Oh, actually I do have this wonderful hymn. This is something that James has written. Have I got time to just quickly read it? So, how we have misunderstood you, Melissa, messenger of the sun, the honeybee, companion to the logos, always a nursemaid to the human being, the detour around our divisions, back to oneness. Never have you doubted us, though we have doubted you. Throughout the whole of time, you've been present in your priestly crown, present as a stepping stone for man, in Babylon, in ancient India, in Egypt, in the Samudra, in Greece at Ephesus, with Artemis the guide and Melissa the Essene, your priestesses and your priest. Come back this day into our true imagination, no more just a metaphor for sweetness, but as a companion to our metamorphosis. Have patience with our prayers, as once again we honour you, asking your consent to be an ark which can guide us from these darkened times to a braver start, to a new awakening of the human heart.
Wow. Good.